Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Hey everybody, this is Hamilton Happy Hour, Triple H. We are back again, and we have a couple of guests with you. Why are you laughing at me? My son's laughing at me. You see how this is? You know, he's probably like, Dad.
Off to a good start.
So once again, we have Mike and Mike.
Hey, everybody.
And now we have Kevin and Brandon.
Hello.
Hello.
Brandon is my son, the fourth generation of the company, and Kevin is a friend of his from high school, from Forest Hill High School, where there's a lot of talent, good talent. You agree with me on this, right? There's a lot of good talent coming out of Forest Hill, especially with the teachers and what they're doing there with the bands and everything, right, Kevin? I mean, you're still in school, so, but not much longer, brother. You only what?
Got, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, there you go. All right. So, what are, let's start with you, Kevin. So you got 5 more months of school, right? You excited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your plans after high school?
I'm planning, honestly, just to get my AA done so I have more time to think about what I want to do, you know?
Okay.
I'm planning on either going to Palm Beach State, that's like right, you know, down the road, or Broward, which is also pretty close.
Okay.
But yeah, those are my 2 choices right now.
Okay.
And then switch to a university after.
Okay. Well, you know, I've been trying to recruit you for, you know, since you've been working with us. Now, it's got like 2 years now, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 2 years.
This is my, yeah.
Yeah, second year.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you've been coming here doing work, you do an awesome job. Seriously.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're really, really happy that you're on board with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we talked about learning how to do tuning, you know, during the summer. And I told you, if you don't, you know, if this is a path you want to go down, I'll give you my time and you give me your time and we'll do that. But yeah, dude, you're a huge asset. I mean, really, really, you're mature, you're responsible, and you always, you know, come in when you're not sick, and
I still got a runny nose, but you know.
But you know, so what instrument do you play in school?
I play a couple. My main instrument is the clarinet.
Okay, all right, like Tori.
Yeah.
You know, and you like playing it, of course,
Yeah.
because you know if you didn't, you wouldn't do it for so long.
Right.
And how do you like it at school? It's good.
It's good, yeah. Or Miss Lopez, my band teacher, she has a good she puts out good energy, you know, creates a good, you know, ambience for classes, so it's enjoyable.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and my son Brandon, so you just had a gig for New Year's, your first one on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
How did that go?
It was pretty good. It was long because it was a 4.5 hour gig, 8 to 12:30, and we had to. I don't normally use stools, but we had to use stools, and 4 hours on a stool kind of sucks.
Well, I was saying to Brandon, you know, back when I was his age, I was a DJ. So he's just kind of doing the opposite side of it where, you know, I used to do those types of parties where I would DJ, you know, from 8 till 2 o'clock in the morning and playing jobs and stuff. And so he was doing it. So we were talking about it the other night at dinner, and he was, I'm very proud of him and what he's accomplished, you know, with that part of it on his own. And it's really, really cool because it's kind of like, you know, seeing the mini me in that sense, but on a different platform. You know, there's you're on the band side of it, where I was on the DJ side of it, and I'm doing the DJ music, and you're doing the band side. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's a huge night for musicians.
Oh, yeah.
New Year's Eve gig, you know, people get booked up. You know, good musicians get booked up in July. You know what I mean for that. So was it at a country club or?
Yeah, I forget how to say it. It was Quail.
Quail Ridge.
Quail Ridge. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And what is it? One of those type of deals where you're supposed to stop at a certain time and somebody keeps coming up and peeling 20s off and keep you guys going? Or?
Yeah, we just they just wanted us to. I think it was a country club that hired us for whatever party was being hosted.
Okay.
So they just wanted our group to just play music, and the leader of the band, John, he's really good at reading crowds, and he knows kind of what music to get people going. So, like, at one point we started playing In the Mood, Glenn Miller, and because there was a bunch of older folks that were
Sure.
on the dance floor, and then
Yeah.
younger people started coming as we kind of dialed down from the older stuff and started doing a little more like modern-ish, but like songs people would know. Like we did Diamond Girl, and some Chicago tunes, and so he just has a really good like sense of how to read a crowd and get people going, and that was ultimately the goal.
Yeah, that's cool. And what size band was this?
So we had 3 horns. It was me on sax, a trombone, trumpet player, guitar player, drum kit player, and 3 keyboard players. 2 of them, so John sings. His daughter's also in the band. She sings, and then West also sang a few songs. But all 3 of them were on keyboard. But they were kind of like, John and his daughter were doing more of like the upfront music stuff, the upfront music that you would hear, and Wes was doing more of like the background kind of stuff, like setting up the tracks and what other stuff we had to do.
Okay.
So like the electronic basis.
Right. Gotcha. Cool.
And I know how much you love playing. You've been doing gigs lately, and I know how much you love that. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, when you're out there, for me, when I was your age and I was DJing, for me, it was a kick because you're like, the downside was, I played a song and everybody's walking off the dance floor. This sucks. Okay, I got to cut this song off after 30 seconds and bring something back on to bring, people back in. So it's good that there's someone like that actually handles that part of it for you, because you've got a group of people handling something where it's not just one guy, you're by yourself like a comedian trying to make everybody laugh.
Right.
You got that dynamic to be able to do that part of it. So Brandon is also at FAU, and you play in symphonic band of the Palm Beaches, the marching band, the jazz band. I mean, you play in a lot of bands, man. You've played a lot of concerts in your young career.
Yeah, I don't know how many I average, but like, I mean, I'm going to rehearsals when people normally don't have rehearsals and stuff, because I like to do a lot of different ensembles. And the director at FAU who was doing my classes and stuff, he told me I was doing actually like the most amount of ensembles in one semester. Like out of everyone that semester, I had the most amount of ensemble credits on top of my caseload of normal classes and such. And most of the time was spent for marching band, but I was in marching band, jazz orchestra, wind ensemble. I was doing a small chamber group with it was me, my friend Dion, and a pianist, and that was led by our saxophone professor, Kyle Meshmet, and just a bunch of other stuff like that. And of course, extracurricular stuff that's not even on my school schedule.
Wow.
And so that private kind of tutoring, so to speak, that you get with Kyle is like, I mean, Kyle, you hear Kyle play the saxophone, it's like you get goosebumps. I mean, seriously, he's got a certain way. I mean, he tours all over the country playing the saxophone, and he's just got such a way that he brings the sound out of that instrument that's coming out of him. It's really, really mesmerizing. I mean, seriously, I don't. Were you at the concert that he played at that time? At Palm Beach State?
Yeah. Yep.
It was, wasn't it? It was just like, man,
for sure.
When he does a solo, and for you to be able to get that kind of a one-on-one with someone that good is why you're becoming a great saxophonist too, in my opinion. It's like as you were growing up, and I would hear you play the saxophone at Forest Hill and at concerts. Do you remember what I told you? I said, once you start playing from here and stop playing from here, you become a whole new musician, because it's one of those things that you're playing from your heart. You're not playing from looking at something and then playing. It's 2 different type of ways that you make that instrument sound. It doesn't matter what instrument it is. Could be a clarinet, could be a piano, could be whatever it is. And you having that ability to get that is very, I don't know. I think it's very important, because not a lot of people get that opportunity,
Yeah, I mean, it is something hard that a lot of people do have to learn, that they haven't really, at least from what I've seen, a lot of people haven't grasped that concept yet. And then when you see a young player that's really good, they've gotten past that concept, where obviously they utilize it, but they've gotten to the point where it's second nature. because the best way to play is when you're not stressed out, and when you're not stressed out, it's all natural, which is like what my dad's saying, kind of playing from your heart. Because some of my best solos I've played are ones that, first of all, I knew the song really well, but that took all the stress out of trying to make sure I do it right, because I know exactly how it goes. So if I mess up, I can recover like it's nothing and make it look like it wasn't a mistake at all. I mean, with my gig on New Year's Eve, I played the solo in FM by Steely Dan. I did really good on that one. I played She's Gone, the soprano sax solo, but I did that on alto. I messed up a little bit, but I came in and I figured out where I needed to get back on track, because they're emblematic solos. You have to kind of play them as they were in the original recording. So even though I kind of flubbed up a little bit, I still came back in where I was supposed to, and I mean, I wasn't worried about it.
And nobody noticed.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Everyone's too busy dancing, listening to everything else, and like.
It all kind of meshed together.
Yeah, and then I had to sight read a solo, but it was what piece was it? Time of My Life, I think. There's a sax solo near the end.
Oh yeah.
And so it was during our dinner break. John was like, "Brandon, sorry to put this on you, but like we're gonna play this near the end of the night, and there's a solo. It's not hard in it, and it was written out. Like he has a lot of the solos transcribed, so I could read the sheet music, but." I don't have access to that music until he sent it to me, because I asked him for it, just so I could verify I was doing it right. I was transcribing a lot of it on my own, but for that piece, I just had to play the first couple notes, and then the rest of it was so quick that no one would kind of remember that much of it. The only emblematic part was the intro, which was like I don't even remember how it goes because I don't know the song that well. But I mean, I just played that part, and then I just did my own thing from there, and I knew when to stop because I was just listening.
Okay.
But I mean, I wasn't worried about that because like I was also able to play my own thing rather than focusing on what was on the page. Besides the first couple notes, which was super easy. But I was able to make my.
So you just
my
had the bookends.
Yeah, basically. I just made my own thing out of the whole middle chunk. Played the beginning, and everyone knew what I was doing.
That's jazz.
But but that's also hard. I mean, you got to think about it. He relied on you to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And doing something, improving, is tough. No matter whether you're a comedian or a musician. I mean, that part of it is tough to be able to do. So he obviously had a lot of faith in you to do that, which is very commendable.
And was there any discussion between you and him afterwards about?
I mean, he likes to like walk around, shake everyone's hand, and say thank you for coming, thank you for making it, whatever. And he just told me I did a great job. He really liked the FM one because right after the solo, he turned around, he gave me the biggest head nod ever. And
nice.
So he really liked that one. And I was like, I kind of messed up on She's Gone a little bit. And he's like, yeah, but no one noticed. He literally just told me basically what I told you guys, that I made work of it. Sure. And I just, even though I was playing the rhythms a little bit on the offside, I was able to make it sound like it should have. And just almost like I put my own spin on it, sure. Even though I was trying to figure out where I was supposed to get back on track. Because that was the first time I actually played it. Yeah. I mean, I've read through it, but I haven't played it with the group. And that's why it was weird. Because there's a big space of rest before that. Until I come in on this altissimo A flat, and I'm like, oh God. And I mean, I took that down the octave, but I got the last A flat out. And I mean, I made it work basically. It sounded good, like it should have.
That's cool.
What's the name of the band that he has?
The John Parker Band.
Okay.
So what's your favorite genre to play?
Anything that I like to hear, essentially. I have no preference. Like, there's some classical pieces that I just really love, and jazz pieces I really love. I mean, Latin, what's the term? Afro-Latin, which is also another type of Latin, but it's more in the 6/8 pattern. Mm-hmm. Anything just that has a good groove. A lot of classical might not have a good groove, but has good chords, good qualities. Mm-hmm. Like I really enjoyed listening to in symphony orchestra. I played clarinet at FAU in symphony orchestra, and we played Mendelssohn's Midnight Summer Dream. I think that's the name. I don't remember, but there's a lot of like really awesome soloistic stuff from each kind of instrument. Like sometimes you have the oboe and then the clarinet pop in, and they might be like kind of talking back and forth or doing like a popcorn kind of thing, where it's like da 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 and stuff like that. And then there's just a lot of underlying stuff that sounds really cool. And I'm not an orchestra guy, really. I don't consider myself a classical enjoyer. I do love the pieces I love, but I don't like, how do I say this? Like, I don't listen to it extensively. Like, I have
You
a
don't
huge
strictly focus on that.
yeah, like I have a huge jazz playlist, but I don't have a huge classical playlist yet. I'm getting into it more because, of course, every musician should. But I really enjoy like jazz and Latin and salsa style stuff. Like I just love playing
Merengue,
that kind
and
of stuff.
like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, that's
like
cool.
I like
and a
playing,
little bit of ska now.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I like playing the fun stuff because I mean that's the fun stuff for saxophone. And the classical stuff is just hard, but it's rewarding once you get it down, and eventually you learn to love the piece that you're learning.
Gotcha.
But
What about you, Kevin?
I mean, it's the same thing. Like he said, it's for mainly the pieces that I like or the genre. I like I prefer like more on the classical side of stuff. I like Beethoven, the big what? How many? Like 5?
what do you mean, like
Like the
classical
big
composers?
five.
Big composers.
Yeah.
Like Beethoven, Bach?
Yeah.
I don't know the other.
The Russian guy with the big hands.
Chopin,
Chopin.
Mozart.
Mozart.
How do you say his name?
Haydn,
Rachmaninoff?
Schubert.
Oh, Rachmaninoff.
I can never say his name.
Rachmaninoff.
Yeah.
Schumann.
Well, it's funny you brought him up because we actually had a piano with his autograph on it.
Oh, really?
And so it was a Steinway Model M, and I had purchased this from a customer. It needed to be rebuilt. So he had signed it in, I think it was 1931. And the funny thing is that he signed the plate in pencil. Okay, of all things. I mean, a marker is one thing, but in pencil, how it lasted that long.
Did they have markers then?
Maybe not. That's why he did pencil.
That's like 100
good-
Was that
good
in the
point,
old
good
building?
point. Yeah, that was in the old building.
The one across the way.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So
remember that
we
piano.
rebuilt the piano. We saved the autograph, and we put a clear coat of vinyl over it. So when we refinished it, it's saved. And we ended up selling the piano, but we had it authenticated, that it was his autograph. It was just kind of cool, to see that. And what's cool with you guys is that you're talking about music that most guys your age do not talk about. Really, I mean, seriously. So I remember one time, Tina, your mom, my wife, you and Tori and your friends you were driving somewhere. I don't remember where, and you had Sinatra playing, and it was like Tina was like, "This is really cool." You guys were jamming out to Sinatra. How often do you hear that or see that? I mean, I wish I was in the car with you guys because I wasn't, but that was really, really cool. And what you're doing is you're turning back the hands of the clock. You're bringing back something that if you don't do it, it's going to be forgotten, right? I mean, think about it.
I mean, there are those songs that a lot of people know that are older. Like everyone knows "Fly Me to the Moon," but not everyone knows like other Frank Sinatra pieces like "Blue Moon." That one's a good one. Or like, what's his name? Bobby
Vinton?
He did "Beyond the Sea." Ba-dum bum ba da 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 da. Ba-dum bum ba da. I forget his name. I have it in my phone. I'll look for it. But like, not a lot. There's like that one signature song that people know by like the older artists, but they don't know a lot of the other ones, which is like.
Well, there's a lot of one-hit wonders too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But like even besides that, the other songs are still very good, but it's just interesting how there's certain ones that are still relevant today to a lot of younger people, and then there's a lot that are kind of not lost but not known by younger people.
I think it's mainly young musicians that were the ones that kind of delve into that kind of stuff. Whereas, even though my daughter Ariel's your age and she listens to Sinatra and stuff like that from time to time. So I think there's still a contingent of the younger generation that, just kind of yearns for more than what's being fed to them on, the popular stuff.
Yeah, I remember growing up, there were, you bought CD, you had a whole album, right? And it could have been a one-hit wonder on that album. But there were 10 other songs on that song that album that I loved.
Yeah.
And I would jam out to it. I mean, Tom Cochrane was one of them. I mean, he wrote the song Life is a Highway and blah, blah, blah. And that was his pretty much one-hit wonder. The rest of that album was fantastic.
Yeah.
It just didn't make it to the airwaves, you know?
Right.
And there's a lot, and that's just one artist for the millions of artists out there that put their heart and soul
And
into
a lot of them don't even
creating
make it
something.
to the airwaves.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there's so much music out there that like Pandora, it has other features on there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Suggested artists.
right?
Yeah, like
but like
indie,
deep
indie
tracks.
artists.
Deep
Yeah.
tracks. Like
Oh,
for that one artist, it'd be like deep tracks. Like I guess it's a track that was that they did that no one knows
Well,
about.
yeah, you get that, but then you also get suggested, or like if you're listening to something you like, and they'll give you, well, you might like this too. So I've discovered a bunch of bands on Pandora that I never would have had access to because they're not on the radio, and they're just, well, you like this, you may like that, and so that's one cool thing. People bang on Pandora and stuff like that, but I think it's a good way to discover new music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spotify has something kind of similar with that, but it's like Pandora's whole basis, I think, kind of is that, where it helps you kind of find new music. I mean, I use Spotify, and Spotify's shown me a lot of good things too. But most of my stuff is ones that I've either heard before or I've been recommended, and some stuff I find occasionally. The artist I was talking about for that previous topic was Bobby Darin.
Oh, okay.
Bobby Darin.
He did Beyond the Sea. That was the one he's known for, I think. But he also has this one jazz standard, As Softly as a Morning Sunrise. That one's really good. And I've heard other like versions of that piece, and like I like his the most because it has like, first of all, he's singing vocals. The other ones I listen to are just instrumental, but he's got the whole big band in the background. It's just really powerful and really swinging. Where the other ones are they're softly, as in the song's name, and he literally says we should play this more softly, and then they just continue the freaking just go crazy with it.
That's cool.
Well, and the thing too is now let's dissect that a little bit. You got these songs that we're talking about. How that song got created from the very beginning. You had to have a writer. Before that, you had to have a thought to write it down, and so on and so forth. Tina and I were watching the Emmys, the greatest. It was different years, different of the greatest. The song that won Song of the Year, right? And so there were different ones throughout, from the 70s to the 90s or whatever it was, and for the writers, and something has to start somewhere to get to where it's going to be. So it's not just the artist that everybody knows. Okay, so it's like, okay, the pianist, everybody knows the pianist. They don't know the piano technician. They don't know the piano maker. They don't know anything like that. But if you really think about it and dive into the behind the scenes and the out of the box stuff, where what went into making this movie, well, just watch the credits. I mean, it's 5 minutes long of all the people that went into the credits.
Thousands of names.
And and unfortunately with that part of it, they're real small and you can, hardly see it, but there's so many things that go into making something one way or the other. If it's a car, if it's a piano, if it's a building, whatever it is. So you kind of got to reverse your thinking, be like, oh man, that song's so cool. And it's a 5 minute song. Well, that 5 minute song took probably 5,000 hours to make, between the engineer and the producer and blah, 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 blah. I mean, like Jordan, I mean, to set this all up took him a good half hour just for us to have a podcast, like he did with the other ones. I mean, it takes a lot of time. So, all right, good job, Jordan.
Way to go, Jordan.
And
I know he'll listen.
Yeah. Stop making fun of us. But it's that part of it too, So, Kevin, you don't just play the clarinet, man. I know you play something else too.
Well, yeah, I also play piano. I play. I learned a little bit of tenor sax and trombone too. So.
Okay. So let me ask you something. You've been here a couple years now. You see how this operation works. What do you like about it, or what are you interested in about it?
Honestly, what I like about it is like just the space, like being able. Well, this place is like a family type of thing, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody you talk to, very friendly. They help you when you need it, and then you always have support basically, and it's something I really like about this place. And yeah, it's just you have the support, and knowing that you have support is very like good for your mental.
Right.
And just knowing
No
there's
one's
people.
gonna, no one's
Comfortable
gonna leave
place
you
to be.
behind,
Yeah, it's just
right?
yeah.
You know you're around people that got your back.
Right.
No one's gonna let you fail.
Yeah.
But what's the thing you guys like the most about playing? There's got to be probably something. Is it the feeling you get when you feel the crowd getting excited about you playing, or is it? I mean, what could it be? There could be numerous things.
Well, for me, it was kind of like it took a while to figure that out. Kind of throughout when I was made to do band in middle school, I just did it because I had to do it to not do piano lessons. But then eventually I was like, I'm pretty good at this. This is pretty easy. And then I knew I went to a really good middle school. I went to Palm Springs Middle School, and they have a really good band program there. And I just excelled really quickly. And then going into high school, I was really far ahead of everyone else. And so I just got put like first chair my first year there. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. And so it kind of at first staggered me from learning more, because I was already kind of like at the top. Like
I already know all this. I don't need to know anymore.
And like, yeah, so it's like I didn't know how else to go about it either. So I just kept playing, and I wasn't really practicing. I was just playing what was given to me. And then I started doing solo stuff for solo ensemble. And then like without having a sax teacher, I learned how to do like altissimo notes, which is like above the normal range of saxophone. And I did a solo with altissimo in it. And it went okay. I did good enough to get a superior on it to go to state. And then COVID happened, so I didn't get to go to states for that. And then my senior year, I did a even way harder solo. And I did pretty good on that one. I got superior as well and got to state. I only got excellent at state. That's because I took time off, because I had been that was the first piece I genuinely full on practiced. And I was kind of pooped out of it. It was also like between spring break or whatever, so it was kind of bad timing. But there was one time there was testing. So me and my friends were just in jazz band, and our teacher was Mrs. Lopez. That was her first year. It was my senior year. She got dragged in to do proctoring. So we were just in jazz band class, and I actually was playing trumpet in jazz band. I wasn't playing saxophone. So I got to use my saxophone for the first time, and me and some friends, we played Sir Duke. There's a big band arrangement of that. So we were just reading it off the smart board, and my friend was on tenor. My other friend Lewis was on second alto, I think, and I was playing for the first alto line. And just the way we had really good a chemical reaction with each other. So the way when we played that one line, the da 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 da, it was a sax solo, so it was a lot more in depth than just that melody line. And from the first phrase, we stopped and looked at each other, and we'd flipped out. It was crazy. Like we'd never sounded better in like our 4 years. Well, for them 3 years, because they were a grade under me. But like in that whole time there, we hadn't heard anything like that. And so that was kind of eye-opening for me for like what kind of music I liked, which was jazz. I started liking that a little more. Not so much that I was listening to it on my own time until I'm like, okay, I really need to get good at this, so let me start listening. But yeah, that was eye-opening for me. And then a week before college started, I was going to be an engineering major. And then during marching band camp, I'm like, oh, everyone actually likes to play their instrument here. Let's see what it's like to be a music major. So I switched. And then, yeah, I'm enjoying it from then on.
Well, I mean, some of your accomplishments is, one, you went to Oklahoma for that, that master class, right? With saxophones for the week. And then there was 100 saxophonists playing all at the same time, which was really, really cool. I was, before you guys all got together on stage, I'm like, how's 100 saxophones gonna sound? I mean, I was a little weary about that. You guys sounded like a full orchestra. It blew me away. It was really, really good. Yeah. And you've played with the symphonic symphonic band at the Palm Beaches with Copeland. So you've gotten that. So you've got some feathers under your cap, and you're doing really good at 21 years old, and you're paving your path, not just with that part of it, but also with the business here, because you're taking care of pianos when that we need. I mean, and Kevin, I know you're going to be working here summertime, right? Right,
Yeah,
Kevin.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
7
We
days
need
a
you,
week.
brother. We need you. But what about you? I mean,
bruh.
what? Brah, it had to come up sometime tonight.
Like you're like gonna work here, bro, right?
Yeah, dude.
Come on, bro.
But for you, when you're playing the instrument, what do you like the most about it?
I think for me, I just like getting into the headspace. Like there's times where you mentioned it earlier where you just play from the book, you know,
Mhm.
and then there's like playing from the heart, and then just that feeling when you're I don't know what it
Like
You
in
know-
your own zone.
yeah, you're just in the zone.
Flow
Just
state. Flow state.
yeah, like getting into the flow state while playing your instrument, and that could be anything from piano, clarinet, saxophone. It's just that feeling. It's just otherworldly.
It's just coming to you.
Yeah,
Right.
It's just
You-
it's
you-
amazing, and that's
You're
what I
just
like.
sort of the instrument at that point.
Yeah,
right?
basically. Like you
Let-
don't have to think about anything. Your head is clear, and I know it also happens for like sports too,
Yeah.
where people get
What
into
people
that.
say, you let the game come to you at
Yeah.
that point, right? It's just
Yeah, there's just no thought behind it. It's
Yeah.
just action.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
what I really like about
It's
it.
it's a gel,
Yeah.
and that gel just like this, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say an out of body experience, but in that sense, it's like you can kind of feel yourself like
Yeah.
one with what you're doing, and kind of put yourself in the audience's perspective of what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
where it's like you can kind of feel you can feel what the audience is feeling,
Yeah.
and the cool thing is you're giving that to them.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
giving them that
Yeah.
perspective, and
yeah.
when
We
you,
feel that
right, exactly.
when you're in that groove.
Yeah, when you get
Yep.
the chills and you get the, oh man, damn,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
good. You know, you're giving that to the person, but you're also feeling it reciprocated
Mhm.
from them, whether you're seeing the smiles on their face, the
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
loudness of the applause, the
Yeah.
encore, whatever
Tears.
it is, the tears.
Standing
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a
So-
piece I played. I think it was for All County in 2023 All County, and we played this. I think the song was called Treasure for something Treasures My Broken Hearts. I can't remember. I'll look it up later, but it was a piece made for high school shooting, and it's just the chords and the tension between the band and the because the people knew, or they announced the song, right, and they told the story, and it was just the tension between the audience and us, and just how we played it and how it ended. It's just those types
Everybody
of
felt it.
yeah, everybody felt it. It's
Yeah.
just those types of songs that really get everybody united, you know. That's the feeling that I really like about
Yeah.
music.
And there's no words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm speechless. You know, what
Mhm.
just happened? Wow. You know, the audience was this. And I mean, putting yourself into your mind space of
Mhm.
the audience felt this and I felt this. And that was like Kismic, where it was just one of these things that you just once in a lifetime kind of a feeling that you don't get that often. You know, I mean, you grab on to those type of feelings when that happens, because when you do, you remember them. You know, and there's, you know, that's the cool thing about doing what you guys are doing. I'm going to tell you a real funny thing that happened to me when I was DJing. I must have been, I don't know, 20 years old or so. And I had to DJ for an older adults community like party. I don't remember exactly what the party was, but they were older people. And I'm like, I'm a young guy. I hope I
Here comes that Glenn Miller.
yeah. I hope I do a good job, and I hope they like me. And it was up in Palm City, and so they were very, very cool people. And so I knew I was doing a good job when I had a lady on the dance floor with her oxygen tank dancing. And I was like, yes, I'm doing good. But, you know, but that's the thing, you know, for starters, you should be commended for what you're doing at such a young age. I'm not just saying that because you're my son and because, you know, Kevin, you work here and we're friends. I'm saying that because guys like you and girls like you that are doing what you guys do are the next generation. Actually, I mean,
Carrying the torch.
you're carrying the torch, and you're actually a couple generations. I mean, there's the little space there that you're making it what you don't realize it now, but when you're older, you're making that happen for the next generation that's going to be underneath you. And you keep the dreams alive, you keep the music alive, you keep that experience alive. And that's why I think the podcast, like having it with you guys, is kind of very important, because there are a lot of guys and girls your age, in high school, in college, that are doing what you're doing, but you're able to explain it in a way that they're like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. And now they're like, oh, that's what I meant. That's what I'm feeling. And that's what I want to do. And this and that. So I think it was very important to have you guys on for that part of it, to be able to explain it your way. And then somewhere, someone is feeling that same thing too. Hopefully. I mean, I hope so. I'm looking at the wrong camera at this one. So, not to put you guys on the spot, but we got a piano, you got your sax. You guys want to play something for the people for us?
Sure.
Yeah.
We can play some Misty.
Okay. All right, cool.
Cool.
All right.
Nice.
All right. So we'll have you guys do that. I mean, it takes a lot of time. So, all right, good job, Jordan.
Way to go, Jordan. Way to go, Jordan. Way to go, Jordan. Way to go, Jordan.